But first, our top story tonight. Actor Aamir Khan, the face of Incredible India's campaign, finds himself in the middle of a massive storm. The actor, who yesterday spoke at an Indian Express event, has divided Bollywood and the political class with his comments on what he said was a growing sense of insecurity that his family felt in the country. Aamir went to the extent of claiming that the situation was such that his wife had even contemplated leaving the country. He's now facing brickbats and even a lawsuit. Did the actor exaggerate, or is he simply reflecting a harsh reality?
Kiran and I have lived all our lives in India. For the first time, Kiran says, should we move out of India?
Mr. Perfectionist, superstar Aamir Khan is in the line of fire after expressing his opinions on the growing intolerance in the country, saying that his wife once wanted to leave the country out of fear.
For any society, it's very important to have a sense of security. The last maybe 6 months, 8 months, there has been a growing sense of despondency, I would say. Kiran and I have lived all our lives in India. For the first time, Kiran says, should we move out of India? Now, that's a disastrous and very big statement for Kiran to make to me.
But this comment backfired at Mr. Perfectionist in a way he had never imagined.
भारत के मुसलमानों के लिए भारत से अच्छा देश और हिंदू से अच्छा पड़ोसी नहीं मिलने वाला है.
For someone like him to say that, it looks like it's a comment on the entire country.
कोई जाना चाहता तो स्वेच्छा से जा सकता है और ससम्मान जाना चाहिए. कम से कम देश के अंदर इसी बहाने आबादी कम तो होगी.
Bollywood too splitting down the middle completely, with Raveena Tandon and Rishi Kapoor telling Aamir to fix the system and not run away. There was anger, abuse, backlash and a police complaint against him. But the actor found overwhelming support from certain quarters as well.
A simple utterance of a woman who is speaking her heart out to her husband should not be made it into such a big issue.
It's the duty of the government that none of the citizens of this country should have any kind of fear in their heart.
And the common man spoke too.
उनके इस बयान से यह साबित होता है कि वह देशद्रोही की भावना के रूप में बोल रहे हैं.
जी, वो इंडिया के एक सिटीजन हैं और बहुत मतलब रिस्पॉन्सिबल सिटीजन. उनको तो पता होगा, उनको जब लगा होगा कि किसी बात से नहीं ये इंटॉलरेंस यहाँ पे हो रहा है तो उनने सही कहा होगा उस बारे में.
Aamir Khan's statement has divided public discourse over intolerance issue in the country. The question is, was Aamir's statement an exaggerated report, or is it the harsh reality? Bureau Report, India Today.
Tonight we're going to get various voices across the spectrum in true Indian fashion, where we want diverse viewpoints to be expressed. My first guest is Nasiruddin Shah, the celebrated theatre and film actor who's also been speaking out on this intolerance debate. I began by asking him, Mr. Shah, do you share what Aamir Khan said? Do you believe that Aamir Khan has reflected in a sense what you also in a way told me a month ago when you said for the first time you were also beginning to question your identity in a sense as an Indian Muslim?
I certainly share his concerns. I have some reservations about what he said. I think he said it in a fit of vulnerability, and whatever, I've heard many people mock what he said, because what they say is if a guy who moves around with a carload of security and has a security waiting at his doorstep, what does he need to worry about? Now, true as that may be, and the fact is that if a person like Aamir, who I don't think needs any further testimonials as to his love for his own country, says a thing like this, I think it needs to be taken notice of. However, having said that, I think he shouldn't have said it. Because regardless of what he feels, we Muslims don't need any further aggravation of our feeling of persecution. I think a person like Aamir saying a thing like this is going to create a fear psychosis, and that's the last thing that the Muslims in India need to have at the moment. As for me, what I would like to say is that I have never ever even considered leaving the country. I am here because I belong here. I'm not here because anybody's doing me a favor. I'm not here because of anybody's kindness of heart. I'm here because I belong here. I have never ever thought of leaving this place, and I will live here and I will die here as 4 generations of my family has done. No one has any right to tell me where I should be and where I should not be. If anybody thinks that they can drive the Muslims out of this country, they have another thing coming.
You know, those are very strong words that you're giving out, and they are very heartfelt, I can see. But if you say that maybe Amir Khan should have been more careful in his choice of words, but if a section of society feels this fear psychosis, whether it's Amir or a man on the street, are we saying that because he's a celebrity, he must not say it, he has to be more careful in his choice of word? Because you, as I said also in an interview, had told me you were becoming conscious of your identity as an Indian Muslim not too long ago.
It's not a question of saying it openly, he must not feel it. And what is more important in what I said was the fact that through my life, through 65 years of my life, I have never felt this kind of discrimination, which is something which was not underlined as much as it should have been. What was underlined was that I am seeing this for the first time. What is more important is the fact that neither me nor my brother, who served in the army all his life and has fought 2 wars for this country, nor my father ever felt any kind of a discrimination ever in this country.
Have you felt it now?
Have
you felt it now? Have you felt it now?
And the fear psychosis must not be, it must not be.
No, have you felt it now? Are you saying that celebrities should be careful of what they say?
I still say I do not feel as if I am being hounded, though there have been occasions when I have been victimized by certain interested parties. I haven't paid much heed to that. But there is no way I'm going to feel hounded, and there is no way I'm going to feel threatened. And that is what I recommend that all Muslims in India do. Not feel hounded and not feel threatened.
You said at the outset you believe that Amir should have worded what he said better. That do you feel Amir should have said? What is it that he is to say? He's only reflecting what his wife Kiran Rao told him. Isn't he entitled to do that?
The rest of what he said made complete sense. The fact that that intolerance is not a new thing. And why are we making such a big thing about it? These things have happened before. But there is certainly something different about this time. It's not as if atrocities and as if injustices have not occurred under the rule of other governments, but in an atmosphere where no one in power has a word of compassion, a word of condemnation for cold-blooded killings, where people who make hateful statements are victimized, where the senior-most leaders make hateful statements about a particular community, and you know who they're talking about, in an atmosphere where a student is arrested for wearing an FTII t-shirt, where the students' demands are met with utter contempt, with the utmost cynicism, when they're asking for an improvement in their situation, they're called Marxists and they're called anti-nationals, where artists, writers, painters, scientists who are making a protest are referred as anti-national, as politically motivated. You have people, big mouths, saying that these people have been paid lots of money. Just check your facts about those people and see if any of them are the ones who would accept money.
Yeah, I take your point. In fact, I'm going to ask our producers to be careful about the kind of flashes they are making, because you seem to be reflecting your anguish there. It's not as if you are saying that you don't believe what Amir is saying. There is some kernel of truth, but there will be those, Mr. Shah, who will respond today and say that those who are anti-Modi, anti-Narendra Modi are spreading the message of intolerance. This is not about tolerance versus intolerance, but whether you are anti or pro-Narendra Modi. How do you respond to that?
Yes, it's completely baffling that instead of listening to what the people who are trying to make a protest about are saying, it is immediately being given this kind of a color of treacherous behavior. And these are tolerant people who are saying these things, the people who are highly respected till yesterday, the people whom the government was decorating and so on, are suddenly anti-national and who are treacherous because they are saying this. Why don't they listen to these people instead of just trying to tar them?
You know, I'm going to hold it there for a moment, Nasiruddin Shah. I'm going to come back to you. because I want you to reflect on some of the issues that you are saying, particularly the kind of street protest that we are seeing. Is this the kind of tolerance versus intolerance debate we want to see? I just want to widen this debate for a moment, and then I'll come back to Nasiruddin Shah to conclude it, because joining me now is Ravina Tandon, actor who's spoken out in a sense and questioned the manner in which Aamir has spoken out, but also spoken out against the protesters. So you have spoken out, you have questioned Aamir Khan, but also spoken out against the protesters. I'm also joined by Khushbu Sundar. She's a Congress MP and of course actor. Anil Dharkar joins me from Mumbai, journalist and someone who organizes the Mumbai Literary Fest, where again the issue of free speech had come out. Narasimha Rao of the BJP, and Tavleen Singh is joining me, columnist and author. I appreciate all of you joining us. Om Puri too will be joining us. But I want to come to you, Ravina Tandon. What is your view? Does Aamir have the right to speak, or is it, as you seem to be tweeting, suggesting that this is all part of an anti-Modi campaign of people who are uncomfortable with the idea of Narendra Modi as Prime Minister?
No. The idea of this country giving everybody the right to say what they want has been there, and it will continue. Obviously, the fact that today social media has taken over, and if you go through social media, people are openly abusing the Prime Minister, openly abusing everybody. If you have an opinion, that means you have to be either right or left. You cannot be there sitting and just making a general statement about your country. Unfortunately, this is what it has come to.
No, but you seem to be... No, hold on.
As far as
No,
Aamir is
ma'am.
concerned,
Yeah, go ahead.
I do believe...
Go ahead.
I do believe, as far as Aamir is concerned, I agree with a few things that he said, and I disagree with a few things that he said. I agree to the form of saying that, okay, the protest happened and people returned their awards and they were concerned about what was happening. I also think that as a celebrity, he should have given more of a positive hope to people and said that let's all get together and sort these issues and figure out what is happening, rather than saying we fear for our life and maybe my wife suggested that we should leave the country.
Are you saying he's anti-Modi?
If there is a problem in the house, we have to get together and sort it out.
But in your tweet, you seem to be suggesting that these comments are all... You seem to be suggesting that these comments are all directed against the Prime Minister, that this is a part of a campaign against Mr. Modi.
See, as far as many things that have come up on social media. I mean, everybody knows Aamir did sign a petition, requesting the government of UK not to issue a visa to Prime Minister Modi when he was not Prime Minister Modi, and when I think he wanted to visit the UK. His name comes one petitioner, but again, that's his right. That is his democratic right to do so. Send a petition or do whatever. My only question, which is not only to you but to a lot of people, that what has happened exactly in these 6-8 months that has gone so completely out of hand, that has not happened for centuries. For centuries we have seen India go through many troubled times, but still we have peacefully coexisted. I feel, to a certain extent, my question being that you cannot call the whole country intolerant or give out the impression that everyone is just killing everyone on the roads randomly. That is not what is happening, because when you pick up news articles, I was just reading Anushka Sharma's interview a few days ago, and in that she said, oh my God, some of my friends were saying, why are you going down to India? There's so much trouble in India, and the media seems to be saying that there is a lot of murders happening on the streets. That was, I am exactly quoting Anushka Sharma's, Anushka Shankar's interview, sorry about saying Anushka Sharma, but Anushka Shankar's interview from London in Times of India. And that is the impression of our country that is going out, which makes me as an Indian hurt somewhere deeply, that this is the impression for a few stray, unfortunate, terrible incidents that should have never happened. And as a modern Indian citizen, I hope that one day we can completely do away with these. That should not come across.
Okay, I take your point. I want to come to Khushbu Sundar to get the alternative perspective for a moment, then I'll go to Tavleen. Khushbu Sundar, there is a sense that Ravina Tandon, among others, are saying that Amir Khan, at the end of the day, remember, is also a brand ambassador for Incredible India. Yes, he has a right to free speech, but did he go over the top? Is he exaggerating? Should he be conscious of his role as a celebrity? Is he bringing, according to the Ravina Tandons of the world, in some way, is he bringing a bad name to this country? Is he sort of bringing the idea of India down?
When did Amir Khan say that India as a country is intolerant? When did Amir Khan say that I'm not a proud citizen? When did Amir Khan say that I am ashamed to be known as an Indian? When did Amir Khan say that I'm leaving the country? Let's listen to Amir's statements very clearly, where he said when his wife Kiran Rao suggested that the fear is there and in the environment, and shall we leave the country? And he said it was a very disastrous statement. Let's make it very clear. He said it was a very disastrous statement to come from Kiran Rao, because they both have been absolute patriotic citizens.
Was it an anti-Modi statement?
Incredible India, Atulya. No, it wasn't an anti-Modi statement. Why we always blame and brand them as saying anti-national, anti-Modi, Bharat ke drohi, Desh drohi. Why do we symbolize, or why do we brand them? If a man can be the face of India and say Atiti Devo Bhava, why can't we look into as to what makes Amir Khan say that there is a fear of in the environment?
Can I then
why don't we understand that?
Can I just take that to Tavleen Singh? Tavleen Singh, is this branding going on, labeling? You asked Amir Khan a question on the whole issue of the Indian Muslim.
I wish he'd answered it.
And tell us for your viewers.
I wish he'd answered it.
Tell for our viewers what was your question, and what is it about Amir Khan's statement that prompted you to ask that question? What exactly was your question, and what was exactly troubling you?
Well, I was for a start offended when he said that, you know, his wife was thinking of leaving the country, because he's old enough to know that India's been through much worse times, and he's old enough, and you know, he sees the newspapers. It's not a good time for Muslims anywhere in the world. Let's be quite plain about this. The Pope has talked after Paris of the beginning of a third world war, but we in India, navel gazing, are not noticing what's going on in the world. Right? So where would he go to? Would he be welcomed in America? Which country in Europe would it be easy for Muslims to go into?
No, he reflects, but is he not entitled to reflect his anguish, Tavleen Singh?
He's entitled to his view. No, you asked me why. You asked me why I asked that question.
Yes.
And I'm telling you why. In India, we've had a very harmonious kind of Islam, in which we've had poets 300 years ago like Mir and Ghalib, who questioned the existence of God, who questioned the fundamentals of Islam. You can't do that anymore, because there is a new kind of Wahhabi Islam that is distorting Indian Islam. And I asked him whether he was not worried about that. And I think that that is a much more worrying factor than anything Aamir said. I think that he should have been a little wiser about saying he wanted to leave, because he should have thought of which countries he would be able to live in. But really the issue before us is there is an Indian Islam, and that is being very seriously poisoned by Wahhabi Islam.
No, you're saying Amir Khan should be speaking about the radicalization of Islam. Amir Khan is saying he is reflecting the fear and insecurity. Now, your perspective versus what Amir Khan said, but Dilip Tahil...
I think that it's kind of...
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Tavleen.
I think that what he said was unwise, because nothing has happened. So, you know, for a start, you're insulting the institutions of democracy in India. When you say that a government change can suddenly change everything. I've been through those riots in Meerut where they shot 70 Muslims in a truck, the police, right? And I've seen much worse things in this country, and by that measure, nothing like that has happened in the past 18 months or 16 months, whatever. So let's be clear about that.
But he can't be called anti-national, surely, and that is my worry, the manner in which this debate has got polarized.
No, of course not.
My worry, yes, but the worry is that this has got polarized. Now, is this because he's a celebrity? Do you believe, Dilip Tahil, that Amir Khan is a celebrity, and therefore is a soft target? If I said tomorrow that I feel a little insecure and maybe I want to experiment with living abroad, I don't think I would be targeted. There would be no protests outside my house. And therefore, as a celebrity, does Amir have an additional responsibility to be more careful, or does he have every right, in a sense, to reflect what perhaps someone on the street may well be feeling, that an Indian Muslim on the street may well feel? As a celebrity, does Amir have an additional responsibility to to be more careful, or does he have every right, in a sense, to reflect what perhaps someone on the street may well be feeling, that an Indian Muslim on the street may well feel?
Well, I completely agree with you that as far as the statement goes, perhaps I don't even think that Aamir really expected it to come to these proportions. However, he ought to have been a little more careful, considering his status, being a celebrity. It's bound to get the kind of media attention that it has, and has gone just beyond what I think is reasonable limits. However, I mean, he has expressed. I mean, his wife has expressed a very. It's hit a nerve point in the thing where intolerance is rising. There is a degree of discomfort against in the creative community, amongst writers, amongst people, that opinions are not being appreciated and considered, and there is a degree of intolerance, and people are feeling it. And if if Kiran has felt this and is uncomfortable with it, she said it to her husband.
Right.
I mean, I feel it's something that it's just gone.
Let me hold on.
Really.
Let me hold on.
And is planning to leave the country or anything.
Let me take that to it's the disproportionate response. There's one thing which is being reflected by a Ravina Tandon or a Tableen Singh on this program, saying maybe Amir Khan should have been more careful in his choice of words. Maybe Tableen Singh believes he should be addressing the issue of radicalization of Islamic youth. But what about the issue, GVL Narasimha Rao, of the kind of response? BJP protesting outside his house, someone filing a lawsuit. I mean, why this? And someone labeling him anti-national. What is going on? Why do you need to label people anti-national if you disagree with their point of view? Amir Khan is entitled under Article 19 to express what he feels. He's not engaging in hate speech.
Rajdeep, don't attribute statements to the BJP that the BJP has not made. We have not made this statement.
Your protesters.
First.
No, your workers who protested. Your workers who protested outside his house said Amir is anti-national. They are workers of your party. You can't disown people all the time.
To the best of my knowledge, no, that's incorrect.
Who are they then?
To the best of my knowledge, not outside his house. I think you correct yourself. Maybe they are members of some other organization with which we have nothing to do. But even if someone holds a peaceful protest, you should not take offense to it. The problem is that Amir's comments are exaggerated, are completely, I think, unfortunate also. I think he and his family feels unsafe today. But did not feel unsafe. You have a number of Mumbaikars on your show, including yourself. 4 major terror incidents happened in Mumbai. Starting with 1993, 2006 serial train blast that killed 200 people and injured 800 people. 2008, 26/11 attack, jihadi terrorists held Mumbai under siege. And Amir Khan, living in Mumbai, felt very safe through all these attacks, massive attacks which were covered on the international media. He felt very safe sitting in Mumbai, but today he feels unsafe. Isn't there a hypocrisy?
Is there a hypocrisy?
Was he feeling confident
because there was
a Congress party in power in Maharashtra?
Anil Dharkar, is there a hypocrisy?
He was feeling safe because there was Congress in power? Congress in power in Maharashtra and in New Delhi.
I get your point. Anil Dharkar, is there a hypocrisy that Amir Khan didn't feel the same way while there was a Congress government, feels now differently because there is a BJP government?
This is the problem with the BJP.
Those were major terror incidents.
The way the BJP spokesman talked just now is typical of the way the BJP reacts. Now, you have a situation in this country where a whole range of people, starting from Narayan Murthy, Raghuram Rajan, FTIS students, filmmakers, writers, and none of them belong to any particular political class or any group. These are people from diverse fields, from different parts of the country, they speak different languages.
Yes.
And they're all feeling the same way. Now, why is that happening? And I think this is the central point. And we miss this point when we talk about we are against Modi. No one's talking of Modi. Now, if you look at the Prime Minister
what has
is showing
changed?
a world vision.
What has changed,
No, he's
Mr.
showing a world vision.
Mr. Darkar, what has changed for Amir Khan?
I will tell you.
What has changed?
No,
very
I will
quickly.
tell you what has changed.
Yes.
I will tell you what has changed. That there are ministers making statements like, you can go to Pakistan. If Muslims don't feel safe, they can go to Pakistan. Another minister said they can go to Bangladesh. Then one minister says that Abdul Kalam was a very good Indian, even though he was a Muslim. Now, what are these statements? And if you look at what
Tavleen Singh respond.
Nasiruddin Shah said.
Yeah, I've got
Nasiruddin Shah, there was a subtext.
I think
he
what
said
went.
Amir Khan, being a Muslim, should have been more careful. Now, I think that's a terrible thing to feel, that Amir Khan, being a Muslim, should have been more careful with what he said. In a democracy, we should all be able to say
Because he's
whatever
an
we
Indian
want.
first.
Okay, let Ravina speak and then I'll come to you, Tavleen. Ravina, respond. You wanted to interject.
I do feel that this country gives you the right to protest democratically. I agreed to the form of protest. Okay, maybe some people, every political party that comes in cannot just magically change everything for you, because then we'd all be living in fairyland. That's not possible. So whatever ruling party comes in, there is always a group that does not agree with what their views are or what their ideologies are, and this will always happen. Unfortunately, what did not come across, or where I feel that people felt let down, even people like me or people like you or people on the street, common man, the fact that when these kind of incidents were happening, whether the FTII or the writers or the scientists and the historians, when they were getting together and creating this whole thing that, okay, let's go ahead, return our awards, and this is our form of protest, why wasn't there immediate action taken by the government when there were these fringe elements who were going, shooting off their mouths, making irresponsible statements, whichever party they might be. I will not only point my fingers, I will say Samajwadi Party, Congress, the BJP, everybody. Why weren't these people...
Our ministers fringe elements. I mean, I think our ministers, these are ministers who are making these statements. The question is, are ministers fringe elements? So if they make...
ministers. Let me finish. Let me finish, Rajdeep, what I was saying.
Yes.
Whether they were the fringe elements or they were the ministers, I was coming to that. The party leadership should have reined them in and stopped them and said, no, we are the leaders of this country. People are looking up to us. We cannot make irresponsible statements like this, because your ministers reflect what the party is all about. Your ministers are in a way spokespeople.
So you agree that the Prime Minister's silence can lead to insecurity. Therefore,
I have been saying that all along.
No, just a minute.
I have been saying that all along.
So
all my tweets have always said that. That to a certain degree, that is where the common man has felt let down, that there was a certain amount of inaction taken by the ruling party. Whereas they should have set an example for the people to look up to them.
Okay, therefore, Tavleen Singh, you say the real issue is radicalization of Islamic youth, which Amir should be addressing. There are others who are saying the real issue at the moment is the failure of the state to actually rein in these elements who go on making statements, go to Pakistan, if you want to eat beef, go to Pakistan. These are the kind of statements that will lead anyone to feel that there is a discrimination which is being institutionalized. So there seem to be two different trajectories at which we are operating. You're saying radicalization of youth, Islamic youth is the issue. Others are saying it's this failure to accept alternative viewpoints, to accept alternative cultures, alternative religions.
No. One is not counterindicative of the other. I think the Prime Minister harmed himself very seriously by not speaking sooner, by not sacking that first minister, the Sadhvi, whatever her name was. He should have sacked her. Yes. Because no minister of the government of India should have been allowed to speak that way. But at the same time, please, can we look at the bigger picture? Even if there hadn't been a BJP government at the moment in India, there would have been insecurity among Muslims, because there is across the world very serious concern.
I agree to that.
Possibly on the edge of a war. And that is what we should be looking at. We in India, as usual, Amir Khan, let's get out of the little well in which we're discussing this and look at the bigger picture. It's pretty much the same anywhere in the world with Muslims. You get pulled out of a line if you have a Muslim name at every airport in the world.
I take your point, and I think that's an interesting viewpoint, because Khushbu Sundar, maybe in debates like this and maybe across...
Rajdeep, today globally...
No, just a minute. It is becoming...
Today globally...
You know, before I come to you, Ravina, I just want to get Khushbu Sundar to respond to what Tavleen has said, that this is becoming, every time Congress versus BJP, this is becoming in a way about,
this should not be.
But
this
it has
should
become...
not be. Nothing should be Congress versus BJP.
It
Only
is
the
becoming,
development.
You will use Aamir's statement.
No,
you will use Aamir's statement to target Narendra Modi.
Have I spoken... Have I spoken against Narendra Modi? I am saying you have the governor of Assam saying Hindustan is for the Hindus. Now what does that statement say? What does it mean? Can anybody give me a very simple, because I am an uneducated woman. Let you explain to me what does that mean, Hindustan is for Hindus.
Khush.
Yes. No, Ravina, one second, Ravina.
I'm saying,
8 minutes, Ravina. I'm saying,
one by one, please.
I don't want these kind of statements. It's not about Congress, it's not about BJP. Congress and BJP will have loggerheads. They will lock horns on the development of this country, not on fringe elements. The problem is they have been serial offenders in the BJP for the last 18 months, and no action has been taken against them.
Are we saying that the Congress...
Even today you have... No.
Are we saying that
it's not about Congress and BJP again. Even today you have a statement when Aamir Khan...
Yeah, go ahead.
So go ahead, Raji.
No. My worry is that somewhere down the line you're going to use this to suggest that this is the first government in India which is completely intolerant of alternative viewpoints.
No. Throughout your debate, have I even spoken saying that this is what Congress did or this is what BJP did? I have not even spoken about that. I am representing my party, but we are not here to say that what is right, what is wrong. We are talking about the freedom of expression. Where is the democracy gone in a country? We have survived, we have lived together for so many years in harmony. Where is that going? Why are we so intolerant towards this? Where is the tolerance level gone? The minute somebody says a word, you say you are anti-national. What about the statement when says that, okay, APJ Abdul Kalam was a great leader despite being a Muslim?
Can I just play?
What was that?
Can I just play what Nasiruddin Shah told me precisely on this issue, and then I want you to respond, because what Mr. Shah was suggesting when I asked him this, has the time come for a dialogue? Is that dialogue missing at the moment in society? Does he believe that does he feel somewhere that the dialogue aspect is completely disappeared in the manner in which these debates are getting increasingly polarized? And that really is the issue which troubles people, them versus us. Listen to what Nasir told me a short while ago.
There have always been people who have attempted to start a dialogue, and too much of the time they have been met with sticks and stones, if not bullets. So those who wish to continue a dialogue will continue it. Those who wish to continue with their mission of hate will continue that.
Because we've seen...
Let us see which outweighs which.
Let us see which outweighs which. Look at what is being said there. Anil Dharkar, I want you to respond, and then maybe Tavleen can also, and Ravina can respond to that. Is this really what it is about? The absence of dialogue. Whether, whichever trajectory, whichever issue we look at today, we are looking at increasingly from a prism of them versus us. Is that what troubles you? Quick response, Anil.
Yes, absolutely. And even a sophisticated and highly educated minister like Arun Jaitley, what is his response to the writers returning the awards? He says this is manufactured dissent. Now, when you said that, you have closed the door to any kind of dialogue. And this is what every BJP spokesman is saying. I wish Narendra Modi, who's now going all over the world spreading the image of a new India. I wish he'd look into his own country and his own party.
Can I take that to Ravina Tandon also? Ravina Tandon, I know when you tweet, for example, you get attacked. And there are others, for example, who return their awards who get attacked. We are now living in them versus us. So surely this is an occasion for dialogue. If Amir Khan's remarks spark up a healthy debate, what's wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong. Right at the beginning I said that's his democratic right to free speech, and he's absolutely, but I just felt that to a certain degree, being a celebrity, someone who people look up to, instead of spreading paranoia, one should be a little careful and try and bring unity. That is all what I said. And to a certain degree, as far as the award wopsy was going on, there were so many on the list where we had pictures of them touching Akhilesh Yadav's feet, Dr. Rangnath Mishra, for example. There were pictures floating all over the press as well. Rajdeep, to a certain extent, I also do feel that the media has hyped up a lot many things which could have been done a little more carefully. To a certain degree.
Tavleen Singh,
it
you
was
believe this is
hyped out of context, and when it was proven otherwise, the media did not stand up and say, oh sorry, this is what came across.
Okay.
And there have been so many instances this for sensationalization to a certain degree, whether they were the church attacks or even to a certain degree the two little children who died in Haryana, which was shameful, ultimately turned out to be a family created war. Which everybody to a certain extent knows, but somewhere the message that has gone already flashed across is that this was done, because of communal hatred.
Can I bring in Tavleen on that just a minute?
No,
I take it.
And globally, no.
Yes.
Rajdeep, let me finish my point.
Yes.
My point being that the fact you pick out any country on the globe today, where is there not an incident of racial hatred that has not happened? Which country, tell me, is so squeaky clean that there has not been a stray incident or two or many, which is openly happening in the
I don't
US
think it is
today,
it's not endorsed by politics. It's not endorsed by ministers. That's my point.
No,
it's not endorsed.
But they do not.
And the Prime Minister doesn't stay silent.
Candidates.
No,
have you been reading Ben Carson's? Have you been reading Ben Carson's statements?
India doesn't need Ben Carson or Donald Trump.
Who are talking nonsense.
Yes, but just a minute. I want to come back to the media point.
Let me finish my point.
Ma'am.
My point being, no, Rajdeep. Me trying to say the fact being that the whole country, because of racial hatred, is not labeled intolerant. They don't blame the whole country saying, oh, the USA has become so extremely intolerant. Oh, the UK has become so extremely intolerant. Oh, this Falana country is so extremely...
Ma'am, just a minute.
That's not what has happened.
Ma'am, Ravina, just a minute.
Okay,
you're calling it stray...
Action is taken against them.
Ravina,
and that is
please
what
stop
is needed.
making these irrelevant points.
Yeah, okay.
I
just want to bring in Tavleen on the issue of the media. Just a minute. I don't want this to be personal.
We are talking about
just a minute. Just a minute, ma'am. Ma'am, I don't want...
coming back to the tolerance debate. You can't... We are going
Can I come to the
somewhere
media?
else right now.
Okay, I just want to come to the media before I take a break. I want to come to you, Tavleen, on this. Is the media responsible for sensationalizing it? I mean, let's be clear. These statements that ministers make, the statements that film stars make, these are statements that they are making. I mean, is the media responsible for sensationalizing it, whether it's the church attacks, whether it's Dadri? Do you believe the media is feeding into this frenzy?
The media is in a feeding frenzy. The media has behaved with extreme irresponsibility and has actually minimized very serious issues and maximized trivia. And we are very responsible for creating this hysteria over intolerance. For instance, a lot of the writers are actually politically connected. I think that's what Ravina was trying to say. We know this to be true. How many stories have you read about that? When Irfan Habib compares the RSS to ISIS, what is he saying? That India is already a country that is ruled like the Islamic State? And nobody writes about that? So I'm sorry, the media has behaved with great irresponsibility and with a certain lack of just love for India. This is a country in which the institutions are strong enough for intolerance not to suddenly come like a cloud over us, but we haven't shown any indication that we understand that.
It's interesting that you're saying that because, Nasiruddin Shah, and I want to come back to him, because he has been talking about the need for people to talk to each other and not talk at each other. And sometimes during these debates, we end up doing that. And I asked him this, is part of the problem the fact that people like him, in a sense, then have to prove their patriotism time and again? Amir Khan today is being asked to prove his patriotism in a way. How does Nasiruddin Shah feel about that? Listen in.
Absolutely not, and I feel no need to do that, and I refuse to do that. And if the work I have done over the last 40 years does not testify to the fact that I am a proud Indian, I don't see what else there is that I can say which will prove that.
You believe that you and Amir Khan are in a sense cocooned, you're cotton wool, because you are celebrities and therefore you can express your patriotism. What about the Muslim, the ordinary Indian Muslim? Does he feel a sense of siege? Do you believe there's a difference between Amir and you and the average person on the street who may actually feel a sense of insecurity?
Yes, but that doesn't mean we feel less strongly. And the fact is that we have a voice. So we have a responsibility.
Is that a general agreement then, that people have a voice? Are we agreed across this panel? Dilip Tahil, one final word. I know there's a problem with your audio, but do you believe that people have a voice? Whether it's an Amir Khan or the man on the street, so long as he doesn't engage in hate speech, he must be allowed to be heard. And we must stop talking at each other, but start talking to each other.
I completely agree with that, and I think that celebrities most certainly need to be very careful about what they say and how they say it, because their words are listened to and the people look up to them. And I think the man on the street also has a voice, and everybody ought to have and should have and does have a voice in this country. However, my only point here is that perhaps Amir should have reflected a little more on that statement, because the reaction that has come, I find the reaction completely disproportionate, and that's why I say that celebrities particularly must be careful. You have to choose your words, and certainly choose where you say what.
In fact, what you say seems to be echoed by Om Puri, the actor who I spoke to a short while ago. I asked him what he would like to tell Amir Khan. What was his message for him today? Listen into what Om Puri said.
One message for Mr. Amir Khan: you have made some decent films, like Tare Zameen Pe, but not all. All your films are not with social relevance. PK can be critical. Oh My God was a better film from which it is inspired. And I will suggest him that he should apologize to the nation for what he said. In fact, if somebody who was an ordinary man would have been arrested by saying these words, you are trying to incite people against each other.
I'm going to ask you, Anil Dharkar, we are now reaching the stage where you've got a prominent actor like Om Puri saying apologize to Amir Khan. Amir Khan must apologize, sorry.
Well, I don't know what to say. I'm laughing because that is the most ridiculous statement that I've heard, and it, I think, exemplifies what we've been discussing about the intolerance in this country. Now, if Om Puri says that an ordinary citizen would have been arrested for saying, I feel a sense of disquiet, I feel a rising intolerance, and he should be arrested for that. I mean, if you are coming to this situation, we are in a really bad way, and I think we should all recognize that.
Right.
And
Nisagama manipamaga nipamaga sanipamani sapasa जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी